Welcome to the first tutorial video on statistics. My name is Abraham Ofori, and in this video, I will take you through the introduction to statistics. Alright, let's start. So, definition. We are supposed to know some basic concept of statistics if you want to understand the concept very well, or the topic very well. So, statistics is a field of study concerned with collection of data, summarizing the data, interpreting the data, and making decisions based on the data. Okay, so let's take an example like this. If let's say um a Gary and bean seller wants to sell Gary and beans on campus, let's say on K University campus, okay, and she wants to find out how much or how many times does K University students take in gobe or Gary and beans. Then she has to ask someone to do this for her. And in doing so, let's say you are a student and she asks you, you take um a survey, or you collect a sample of data, that is, ask people about how many times you take in gobe or gari and beans. After that, you can summarize it to the person and say that, oh, 200 people almost all the time taking gari and beans per day. So what can be the interpretation of this? You can interpret it and say that, oh, quite a number of or Kenya University people really like taking in gobe or gari and beans. Then from there, she can make a decision and say that, oh, if this is the case, then I'll continue and say the Ghanaian beans. I hope it's clear, right? Everything is clear now. Okay, so the statistics is structured into two, as in we have the descriptive statistics and you have the inferential statistics. So let's look at them. So the descriptive statistics. This is a collection of methods for summarizing data. So for the example that I made, the methods that you'll be using to summarize the data, the average number of people, the median, the middle, the mode, like is gobe the most occurring food that people sell on campus, the range, the variance of it, okay, how is it spread, and using graphs. All these methods are what we call the descriptive statistics. So these methods are actually used to summarize your data. Okay, so any method that describes or summarize the data by using either mean, quartile, interquartile, range, the rest, they are what we call descriptive statistics. That is, at that point, you are doing descriptive statistics. You are just describing the data that you have. Now, let's look at inferential statistics. It's a collection of methods for using sample data to make conclusions about a population. So, like I said, you can't actually go through the whole student population in on KNUST campus to ask all of them about the kind of food they take, how many times they take in Gary and beans. So you can actually sample some size. You can actually take some sample, okay, out of the population, and then from that, after summarizing your sample, you can use it to generalize. You can use it to make a conclusion on the whole student population. You can even find the how confident your value will be. If I have the average mean of some sample, I can use it to find how confident that value will be. And we've not reached there yet. That is what we call confidence interval and the rest. Okay. In doing so, that is what we call the inferential study. So you are using what you have in a sample to make an inference in a population. All right. So let's continue. So some key terms that you are supposed to know. If you remember, I mentioned something here: sample and population. So you're supposed to understand what sample mean and what population also means. Okay. So population versus sample. Let's look at them. A population is the entire set of possible observations under study. So the entire set. So I give an example like this: studying the number of Kenya University students who eat Gary and beans. So the whole set, the whole Kenya University students is what we call the population. Now look at here. A sample is a subset of the population from which information is actually collected. Okay, so if I take some or some part of Kenya University students and study them. That is what we call a sample. The the initial interest or point of interest was what? The whole Kenya University students. But now if I take part of Kenya University students, then that becomes what? A sample. So that is why we are saying a sample is a subset of the population from which information is actually collected. So here an example is that in regards to the population example is studying the number of Kenya University students in College of Science who eat gari and beans to generalize the entire Kenya University population. So if I take only College of Science students out of Kenya University and study them, then I use that one to generalize Kenya University as a school. Then the College of Science students becomes what? My sample. The part that I took from the population becomes my sample, right? Very, very easy. Okay, let's continue. So statistics versus parameter. What is statistic? Here you should take this note. This statistic, there is no an S. Okay, the statistics with an X. That S is the topic that we are doing. But if we call something what? Statistic, and we call something parameter. Okay, let's look at them. Parameter. A parameter is a number that is a property of the population. I'm reading it again. A parameter is a number that is a property of the population. So here, let's say um, I'm able to find all the number of students in Kenya University that is Gobe or Gary and Beans. Then it means that that number that I actually calculated for is what? A parameter, because it is the number that represents a property. That is, a property here is what? We want to know the number of people eating Gobe, and then that is our property, and then the number that represent that the whole of sorry in the whole of the population is what we call the parameter. For example, since we are studying the entire community population, sorry, there should be a population here. Sorry, since we are interested in studying the entire community population, the total number of students in Kenya University who eat gari and beans represent the parameter. So the total number of students in the whole of Kenya University. Okay, that is it. Now, statistic. A statistic is a number that represents a property of the sample. Okay, so if you take some part of the population and study it, after calculating the values and something like mean of the sample, variance of the sample, standard deviation, quarter, all of them, when you take a sample out of a population, those becomes what? A statistic. So since we have chosen a portion of Kenya University student, that is College of Science, the total number of students in College of Science who eat gari and beans represent the statistic. I hope this is clear. All right, so let's continue. So variable versus what? Data. Now variable. What is a variable? A variable is a characteristic of interest for each point in a calculation. So this is very, very simple. In regards to what we were just discussing, what are we interested in the population? We just want to know the number of students who eat or gobe. So the number of students who eat gobe is our variable of interest. That is what we are interested in. That's our characteristics here. You can go on and then um, do a survey on number of students who has first class in Kenya University. And so the variable here, the interested characteristic will become number of first class students, right? So first class, or the other example, it can be Gary and beans. Sorry, people who eat Gary and beans. Okay, but variable can also be classified into quantitative or qualitative variable. And a quantitative is, when you say something is quantity, it means you are dealing with numbers. Okay, variables that can assume numbers. That is, we have a discrete variable and we have the continuous quantitative variable. The discrete just assume values. Okay, just exact values. And the continuous are the variables that assume interval or range of values. Okay, all right. Then the qualitative, just the quality of it. So you can, an example is like studying females and males. So you can do a survey on number of females and males in your class, and that become qualitative. Okay, you can do a survey on the age. Okay, and that becomes quantitative. All right. So data. Data are the actual values of the variable. Okay. So let's say if I want to know um the amount of money every student spend per week in KNUST, then the variable will be what the amount of money that we are interested, and then the data will be the cities that we are talking about. I hope you understand the actual values, the cities that so if you are spending like 20 cities, the cities that we are talking about is what we call the data. So 20 cities, this person will spend let's say 30 cities, this person will spend let's say 40 cities, someone will spend 200 cities per week. So the amount, the actual values, as in 200 cities, 20 cities, 30, they are the data that we are talking about. I hope this is clear, right? So let's look at an example. Determine the key terms in the following study. So you are supposed to determine the population, the sample, the variable, the data, and the rest. Okay, so this is the study. You want to know the average, that is the mean, amount of money first year college students spend at ABC College on school supplies that do not include books. Let's take this again. You want to know the average mean amount of money first year college students spend at ABC College on school supplies that do not include books. So here, when you know the average amount of money first year college of student, you can bring it to your school. Either you are in Ken University or you are in Winneba or you are in Accession University or wherever. You can bring it to your school. So we randomly survey 100 first year students at college, and then that is, we just randomly survey 100 first year students at the whole of that school. Three of those students spent $150, $200, and then $225 respectively. So in this study, what is our population? What is our sample? What is our variable? What is our statistic? What is our parameter? Those are the things that we are coming to fish out from here. So the population is what? All first year students attending ABC College this term. So if you look at it clearly, we say we want to know the average mean amount of money first year college students. So all the first year college or all the first year students in that ABC college is what? Our population. This is very cool, right? Now sample. A sample could be all students enrolled in a beginning statistics course at ABC College. So you can that is this sample, you can see that is part of the college, all right? So it's like you are selecting some group of students, that is people studying the beginning of statistics course at ABC College. So if it was, let's say, Kenya University, the sample could be like all students who are doing statistics this semester or this term, just those students alone, then we study them. The rest, you don't study them. And that part that we are studying out of the population is what we call the sample. All right. Now, parameter. Parameter is the average mean amount of money spent, excluding books, by first year students or first year college students at ABC College this term. So, the average amount of money spent, excluding books, by first year college students at AB. So, this time you can see that the parameter is actually measuring all the average, or let's say it's talking about all the students and their average amount of money that they spend excluding books by first year students. Okay, so it's talking about all first year students. Now the statistic is the average amount of money spent excluding books by first year college students in the class of a beginning statistics course. So here you see that the parameter is actually measuring the value related to population. This is also measuring a value related to what the sample. I hope you understand. So the statistic is as a result of what the sample, and then parameter is as a result of what the population. Now variable. A variable of interest here could be the amount of money spent excluding books by one first year student. So the variable of interest, what we are interested in is when you meet any first year student, what are you interested in? You are interested in the amount of money that a person will spend excluding books. All right. Okay. Then the data are the dollar amount. So let's say the three students that we said they spent what the three students that we said they spent this. This is the data that we got This is a data, one of the data that we got. This is also one of the data. All right, so that is it for the introduction of statistics. And thank you for watching my video. And also, please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Because in our next video, we will do scale of measurement, and then from there you start the actual work, that is the descriptive statistics, the mean, mode, and the rest. All right, thank you, and see you next time.